fellow conference. My name is Luke, and I'm here with Ewan and Luke from Harris Academy, Beckenham. As young geographers, we're very aware of the biodiversity and climate crises we're facing. We know that if we don't play our part, the long-term outcomes will be catastrophic. For many people around the world, devastating changes are already taking place.
It's easy to feel powerless in the face of such large-scale, complex issues. It's easy to feel like the actions that we take as young people are so easily undone by the powerful. That's why we're taking part in the National Education Nature Park to ensure the future we're building now is one where we can live and thrive.
Thank you, Luke, Ewan and Luke, and to everyone here for such a warm welcome today. My name is Juanita and this is Scott. We at the Department for Education believe that the Nature Park is a truly groundbreaking initiative, and it sits right at the heart of our sustainability and climate change strategy. The programme is being developed by a partnership led by the Natural History Museum with the Royal Horticultural Society, both of which are here with us today, and they're supported by so many others, including Esri.
Nature Park is one of the largest community science projects in the country, and it provides resources and tools to support teachers and students. Young people are taking the lead in mapping and monitoring biodiversity and uploading it to a national database. It aims to support young people to develop a deep connection to nature, understands the threat it faces, and feel able to do something about it, just as you'll hear from Luke, Ewan and Luke.
Any education setting in England can take part, from early years all the way through to further education. And it's a flexible and adaptable programme, no matter what the context of the education setting or what outdoor space is available. There will be a role for all learners in the programme, and they can contribute no matter what their skills, interests and future aspirations. But we're conscious that not everyone in school is a geographer with experience of GIS. So with the resources and guidance that are available, even non-specialists can do this. But don't take our word for it. Let's see the Nature Park in action.
Climate crisis we're in right now obviously matters a lot to everybody my age. I think the reason why is because this is our future.
I believe as humans we have a deep connectivity to nature, and I think if we were to lose that connection, we would also lose ourselves, and it is everything beyond.
Understanding our environment has become far more difficult as we live in bigger cities, we use technology, we become more abstracted away from nature and the environment.
I feel like a lot of people our age feel quite hopeless in this, as we don't have much control over what's happening.
Do you feel that those generations above you who maybe have a bit more responsibility for the situation we're in, do you feel like they're listening to you?
They're talking about it, but I don't think they're taking it into action, because it is a serious issue we have.
You come out here and you can instantly see there are more places we can develop and more changes we can make. It's right in our face.
I never knew how much wetland and wildlife there was back behind the school.
What could we do with the land use of this area?
This area could be used as somewhat of a wetland or a marsh area.
I feel like because of the park over the road and how that leads to intersections of species between two areas, there's quite a lot of options for us to make this field quite a diverse area.
Young people inspire me because they do give so much enthusiasm. They're very positive in their outlook generally.
How are we
going to mould
our future?
How are we
going to mould
their future?
How are you
going to mould our future?
our future?
our future?
Our future.
We're using Nature Park GIS tools to understand the state of nature on our school site and how we can improve it. We thought this conference would be a good place to share what we can do with GIS in schools and what we found out. Let's start with what people already know about our school. Let's start with a view of nature that policymakers and decision takers might use to understand our space.
This is the Sentinel-2 Land Cover Explorer, which uses satellite imagery to classify how land is used. You can see our school in London is built-up area and rangeland, which means mostly grass with no tall vegetation. If we zoom out a bit, you can see that most of our area of London is built up. There's some water habitat and an area with some trees nearby, but there are lots of human structures in between. Using this animate tool here, we can also see that there has been very little change since I've been a student at this school.
As people who know this school really well, we know that this view from space isn't the full picture. Let's take a closer look at our school in the National Education Nature Park Atlas. This brings together all of the data collected about the nature park. We're going to start with a layer of data about the actual habitat that is presented on our school site. To create this, we used the Nature Park Habitat Mapper app and community science resources provided by the Natural History Museum. We can see from this that our site is grassland, well-established trees, strands of taller vegetation, and the tarmac and concrete areas of our school playground.
Knowing about these small-scale variations in ecosystems is really important. As research shows, having more diverse microhabitats on site helps the local ecosystem to become more resilient to climate change. They can act as a foothold for species we want to encourage over a wider range. But we also need to know about the humans that use our sites. We can't just turn our entire school field into a forest, because we still need to use it for playing football. Understanding how the school community perceives and uses different spaces is just as important as knowing what animals and plants are present if you're going to balance the needs of the school with the needs of nature.
To do this, we used Survey 123. We went out on site and collected information on what we could see, hear, smell, and how that made us feel. When we add these to the map, we can see how nature impacts on our well-being. The areas of our school that are already nature-rich habitats are also areas where we tend to feel good. It sounds simple, but this kind of evidence helps us get agreement to make positive changes for nature and for our mental well-being.
Survey 123 is so simple to use that we can also get much younger students involved in Nature Park. We can get the adjoining primary school to take part in this kind of mapping activity. We all develop our digital skills, and we also develop our leadership and communication skills by taking the lead on involving other young people in this line of work.
We can use Survey 123 and GIS to make informed decisions about what to do next. For example, we can model shade using the weather tool in the Shade Mapper app. Then we can ground truth our findings and work out what we need to focus on shade-loving species if our interventions are going to be successful.
Now that we have this baseline and a plan for what to do next, we can effectively monitor the changes we're making. We can understand exactly the difference we're making, and we can see how it all adds up together as more and more schools start to take part in the National Education Nature Park.
I think you'll agree, it's great to see such enthusiasm and ownership from young people using GIS tools.
But Harris Academy, Beckenham are not alone. With about 22,000 state-funded schools in England alone, there's so much to be done. And these 22,000 schools cover an area that is just over twice the size of Birmingham. And we can and should be making a real impact on the lives of those young people in these education settings.
Since we launched the programme in October of last year, we've had nearly 3,000 educators and 2,500 settings sign up to the programme. So far, 1,100 settings have started mapping their site boundary, which equates to around 1.1 million square metres. And that's a fantastic start, but there's so much more we can do.
Schools can struggle with finding the time and the costs to make the impact that they want. So we have lots of free resources to help them join the nature park. And Esri UK staff have even volunteered to support their own children's schools.
Everyone here can play their part, not just in schools, but everywhere we work and everywhere we live. A little something can go a long way.
To get all education settings involved, we're asking for your support.
There are some schools that have no or very little green spaces at all, but they still have an important part to play. We're suggesting they investigate solutions like green walls and green roofs, but you may have other ideas. You can help by contacting your local schools about these ideas.
Not every school has embedded GIS like we have. You can help them get started, and you can show them how to use these simple tools to great effect like we've shown you here today.
Behind me is a QR code. You can take out your phone right now to get started. Help us, help yourself, and help your organization. How are you going to mold our future?
How are we going to mold our future?
Wow. Thank you for sharing that incredible initiative. How inspiring was that?
And wasn't it amazing to hear Year 12 students just answer that very question that Pete posed at the start of today? What kind of world do you want to see? I wonder how we respond to that. If you think of the organizations that we all collectively represent, we can have a real impact. And I really hope that you've been challenged, but also encouraged by all that you've heard over the course of today.
What a way to close off this year's annual conference. Hopefully you are leaving excited and inspired by the role that we can all play in creating the world you want to see. Thank you so much for your continued support and participation throughout the day. We would love for you to join us for a drink outside the main hall. Have a safe journey home, and we'll see you all next year.